What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today I'm going to show you guys how to remove broken keys out of any lock in your house. It's very simple. We're going to start off with the professional method of removing the keys, and then we're going to move down to a few different ways that we can use household items to remove these keys out. Let's do this. So the first way is by using this Broken Key Extractor Set that I've picked up online. It costs probably about $2 to $3 to buy. So as you can tell, it's got different thicknesses of a barbed wire. You can see the barbs right on the end there, and then we've got a few different hooks as well. So these ones here will help you to pull out basically any key that's been broken off in the lock. So I'm going to show you guys how to use this now. So with any of the methods that you try, the first thing you want to do is use a bit of lubricant. So we're just using a bit of WD-40. It's not the best thing for your locks, but in this case we just want to lubricate it really quickly. So spray a bit of WD-40, that'll help pull out the key just a little bit better. So the first thing we're using is the professional Broken Key Extractor. So all it is basically a thin piece of wire, and you can see the barbs there on the end up against the yellow. So all we do with this is you want to find the size that'll fit through the keyhole, so as I've got right there. So it's very thin, down through the keyhole, making sure we don't push that key in too far. Okay, and what we want to do in this case, slide it down along the side of the key, and then you want to simply pull back. As the barbs start to bite onto the teeth, you'll see that it starts to pull the key out. And at this point, I've almost got it out. Once you've done that, you can then remove the key, and we'll move on to the next one. So the next thing we're using is the hook that's provided in the professional key extractor set. Now with this hook, really what you're supposed to be able to do is slot that between the key and the keyhole and be able to hook that back through. However, you'll find every single lock and key will differ in terms of how much space you have to actually lodge something in there. So in this case, we're not actually able to put the hook through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply slot that in as far as I can, and I'm going to tilt that on an angle. So we're going to just use that little hook on the end, push that up against the key, and then we're going to pull that key out. So as I've just done, like that. So for most people at home, you more than likely won't have the Broken Key Extractor Set at home. So what I'm going to use next is a whole range of different household items to remove this broken key. First thing on the list is a basic set of tweezers. Now everybody has tweezers at home. If not, they're very cheap and accessible to get your hands on. So with the tweezers, we just want to be careful not to push the key in any further than we've already got it. So all you want to do with a very steady hand, we want to try and bite onto that key as I just did. And there you have it, key removed. So once again, we'll push the key right in. This time what we're using is just a household screw. Now you want to get a screw that's as thin as possible. The whole purpose of this is to try and get the threads that are on the screw to bite onto the key. So what we want to do is get a pair of pliers. We want to hold onto the end of the screw just like that. Okay, and all we want to do is simply try and put the tip of the screw between the key and the keyhole, and we want to give it a couple light turns. So just enough to get it to bite. And then once we do that, we want to try and pull straight back as hard as we can. And the key simply pops out. So the next thing we're going to use is a basic household knife. So making sure that we've got a nice sharp point on the end, that's the most important part. Usually you can get away with using just one knife and pulling this key out, but however you might actually end up needing to use two knives. So we'll try and get it out with one knife and see how we go. So all we want to do is just simply lodge that in as far as we can and then flick that back out as I've just done. So you can see there that I've actually removed that with the one knife, nice and easy. However, if it was in too far and we were struggling with the one knife, so rather than putting just one knife on one side, what we would do is try and slot in a knife on either side. So using a knife on either side, push up against the body of the lock, and we're going to pull that key out just as I'm doing right now. Once again, we can do that again, pulling it out slowly until we've completely removed the key. So this time around, what we're using is just a basic fishing hook. We're going to use the tip of it to be able to wedge that into the key and pull that out. So all we want to do is just simply open the mouth of this fishing hook up, being careful not to ruin the tip. So we'll just bend that out. Get a good grip with the pliers. And then we're going to do the same as before and try and pull that key out. So as you can see, I've just completely removed that key using the fishing hook. So this time around we'll just be using a small little drill bit. Okay, what we want to do is simply make sure not to drill into the lock itself. We want to drill into the side of the key. So just being very, very careful. We want to get that started off slowly. And then I can use that little groove that I've created to try and pull that key out. So that's all I did. I just created the little tiny hole right there, and that was enough to be able to allow me to pull that key out. So the next thing we're going to use is a basic hacksaw blade. Now these are very, very easy to get your hands on. Once again, they're available at every hardware store. Most important things to look for when buying one is that it's as narrow as possible, and also the thickness of it. So you want it as thin as possible. Now this one here might be a little bit too wide, so I might have to cut it. So all you want to do is simply just cut off one end, just like that. So we've got the barbs ready to go right off the tip. Okay, and we'll try and lodge that through the side of the keyhole. So once again, we want to try and get that through down the side of the keyhole. This one here looks like it might be a little bit too thick, so I might have to cut that one a bit more narrow. So if you find your hacksaw blade is too wide to actually fit through that keyhole, what we're going to do is we're going to shave that down using a pair of tin snips. So all we want to do, I'll try to get that to focus, make it as narrow as possible, just like that. Cut this side off. So once you've cut that off, you can bend it back straight, and then we're going to try and lodge this in. So there we have it. I've pushed that through. That's now in far enough. All you want to do is push up against the key and pull that back. And once again, we've pulled that key out. So there you have it, guys. I've shown you a whole range of different ways to remove broken key out of any lock in your house, using everything from professional tools, key extractors, all the way down to a fishing hook. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and one of these methods will help you out and save you a few $100s. As always, guys, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching. Bill's out too.